So I'm going to teach you something really cool today that I learned through trial and error. But if you want to learn to make your own toothpaste, especially if you're having trouble with your gum health, this is the way to go. Once you've bought the ingredients, which aren't overly expensive, but it is an initial investment, you will see that the cost of making your own toothpaste is a lot cheaper than buying the quality of toothpaste, even if you could find it out there, that you're going to make. But there is a initial investment for sure. What you're going to have to buy is edible / coconut oil. It doesn't have to be organic, but this is the Kirkland brand and it's good price for what you get. Baking soda, you can buy it at the dollar store or about anywhere. Xylitol powder, that is our silver bullet. And then whatever you want to flavor your toothpaste with. So when you buy essential oils, you have to make sure that they are indeed food grade. You don't want to buy essential oils that are designed just to go through some type of, to scent the air or to scent the body to find out that they're inedible. So most people would go for peppermint oil, which is inexpensive, but oregano oil has amazing antibacterial and healing properties, and so does tea tree oil. Tea tree oil it's just really great for healing wounds. So if your goal is to regain and heal your gums, you're going to want to maybe focus on a couple things that are stronger, though the taste is not going to be as appealing. But you can always counter the taste, the bitter taste of the oregano or the tea tree oil with the peppermint oil. Bay oil also works really, really well. Now, why I said the silver bullet is the xylitol powder is all of the things that you're looking at right now are very pure and they aren't going to, give you cancer. The shocking thing is, we have this FDA in America that's supposed to protect us. But if you look at the ingredients in most toothpastes, especially when they're colored, it's really shocking to see that there are known carcinogens, especially in our children's toothpaste, with the crazy blue colors and red colors. And the fact that our government allows that is truly shocking to me. For years, because I didn't have health insurance, and because my family has a history of autoimmune diseases and other things, especially on the Native American side, I have avoided things that I researched that they were on the fence about, if these things were actually creating a lot of the modern illnesses and hurting the body. So like with deodorant, I make my own deodorant because often the antiperspirant has aluminum in it. And aluminum is toxic, and aluminum they have found in the autopsied brains of Alzheimer patients. And so I'm just like, I don't trust it, so I'm going to avoid it. And this is why I make my own toothpaste, because I'm still on the fence about fluoride. I haven't touched fluoride in decades. I've always had a well, and I've always made my own toothpaste. And then, like I said before, the ingredients everything that makes, from the preservative to the texture to the color, so many of the ingredients in the soaps, shampoos, body products, and toothpaste that we use are incredibly dubious. So, being that we don't have a choice because we're bombarded with toxins, microplastics, and poisons on a daily basis, just through our mere existence here on the planet now because of the crimes that we have committed against the planet, I try to avoid the known chemicals when I can to give myself a little bit of an advantage. And when you look at the newly accelerating cancer rates, especially in young, healthy people, anything you can do is something. That's my motto. Anything you can do is something. So back to making toothpaste. Coconut oil, incredibly antibacterial, blah, 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 blah. Baking soda. What baking soda does, it neutralizes acid. And so what it is, it's the bacteria in the mouth that's feeding on sugars after you eat, and then the byproduct of that bacteria creates the acid that makes tooth decay, and of course causes if it gets trapped in your gums, causes gum disease. The xylitol powder does the same thing. It attacks the bacteria and kills it, and it also is going to sweeten, to make it taste a little better, our toothpaste. So along with the oregano, which is also antibacterial, the tea tree oil, this combination in a toothpaste, you are going to see amazing changes in the health of your mouth. It took about, I don't know, because I only go to the dentist like twice a year. And I went from initially, when I went to the dentist, my gums were at 5-6 depth. And the last time I went, they were at 1 and 2, which is a good thing. I guess it works in reverse. And the dentist was really surprised. One of the things you're going to want to do if you're focusing on gum health, though, is you're going to want to, when you brush your teeth with your homemade toothpaste, you're going to want to, while it's in your mouth, floss. You want to get it deep in your gums, because that's going to deliver the medicine and the antibacterial properties of all these ingredients deeper into the gums, if your goal especially is to regain your gum health if you have gum disease. I've had a phenomenal experience with this combination. And I was making my own homemade baking soda before, but what I was missing was xylitol. I also want you to do your own research on xylitol, because it turns out that it has a lot of other health benefits also, strengthening bones in older bodies, and there's even some research out there that claims it can dissolve the biofilm on certain bacterias so bacterias can form this thing called biofilm in the body or on the body. And what that is, it's like a protective cocoon. And that means when it makes this protective cocoon, medicine can't, and the immune system can't get to the bacteria to destroy it. You see this especially now. There have a lot of research out there with Lyme disease, but also I was shocked to learn psoriasis. So I'm guessing that you could literally make a topical ointment with coconut oil and xylitol, and I probably use some bay oil too, for psoriasis, and see what happens. Because if indeed it could get through that protective barrier that the bacteria is making, you might have an amazing experience if you suffer with, or know someone who suffers with, psoriasis. All right, so now let's get down to the nitty gritty. So I learned the hard way. Before my last batch, I put all my ingredients in the saucepan all at the same time, and then cooked it on the stove. And that was a big mistake, because even though I didn't boil it, I didn't bring it to a high heat, the flame coming from the bottom, that directed heat made the xylitol crystallize. And I had big clumps that weren't coming apart, that weren't dissolving and mixing into my toothpaste. I hate wasting things, so I used it anyways, but it was not good. But you will see that coconut oil melts very, very quickly. So we don't have to boil this. We just need to, of course, the smaller you break down the pieces, the better off you're at. How much? That depends on your container. What size container do you have? I suggest using glass. A Pyrex works great with a nice sealed lid. You don't have to refrigerate this, but you will see that the consistency of the paste will change depending on how hot it is in your bathroom. Because as you can see, coconut oil has a really low melting temperature. But all we're going to do is get this to the point that it's melted into a nice liquid, and all our chunks are gone. Other things, I'm going to show you my mix. Baking soda, of course, doesn't have the best taste, but I'm not really sensitive to that. But we really just need enough baking soda for the acid neutralizing properties. The xylitol, you can put as much in as you want because it just sweetens it. And isn't it nice to know that you could eat this? This is actually so safe that you could eat this without poisoning yourself. That's my goal usually with about everything. If I can't, I want my soaps that I make, my organic soaps, anything that I'm putting in or on my body, I want to be pure enough that I can eat it. Okay, we have our oil melted enough. We're gonna take it and pour it into our Pyrex. Good enough. And then we're going to do, I got this scoop from the protein powder. Did 1 scoop of that and 1 scoop, and I would guess, how many tablespoons do you guess that is? 6 to 8. Then we're just going to stir this really, really well. I'm going to use a chopstick. And you can continue to stir this as the coconut oil cools. You can see a lot of it settling on the bottom, and that's why you have to, as it becomes an actual paste and the coconut oil cools. And again, there's no, you want to put enough in for sure, but there's no such thing as putting too much. The worst thing's going to happen, you're just going to have a really, really thick paste. And of course, I'm not putting this in a tube, so you can just jam your toothbrush right into that. Now we're going to add our oil. Now, how much oil do you add? Well, you add it to taste, but you want to be careful because pure oil is really concentrated, and if you put too much, it can literally, it's almost like pepper. It can burn your mouth. But also, you'll see that the baking soda somewhat neutralizes the essential oils, so sometimes you have to put a little more of this or that. Cinnamon oil is really tasty in toothpaste also. And again, if you're not going for something super medicinal because you're trying to heal your gums or mouth sores or whatever, it's really just taste. But I just like using the tea tree oil. I'm going to put 2 droppers full of the tea tree oil. Tea tree oil and oregano oil. Read up about oregano oil. Oregano is one of, the original medicinal herbs they used for all kinds of stuff before we had modern medicine. And oregano oil can just do all kinds of amazing things for the body, ingested daily in tablets. That is it, my friends. Eye of newt and ear of toad. I'm going to stir that really, really well. Now, another thing you could do, you could pour all this into a blender and mix it that way if you're really type A. Or we could put our lid on it because it's airtight and give it a good shake. But that's basically it. That's all there is. If you want a little more of this or that, if you taste it and you need it to be a little more sweeter, you can add more xylitol because it's not sugar and it's not toxic. Or if you want it to be more paste-like, you can add some more baking soda. But it's difficult to see how thick it is actually until the oil kind of sets up. But I'm going to do it so I fill the top, because if you're going to take your time and energy to make your own homemade stuff, why not make enough of it that it lasts? The other great thing is when you make your own stuff, because it's so affordable and you can make so much of it, you don't have that feeling like you got to be careful how much you use. I think sometimes people don't use enough medicine or enough food, nutritious food, or enough toothpaste because it's so expensive and they're on a budget. So that not only do they have to buy like a super low quality product, but then they also have this, this feeling of having to conserve it. So I also like that about making my own stuff. Okay, that's it. Now you could put this in the refrigerator if you wanted to harden it up, or you can just get the lid on it and set it on your bathroom counter. And depending what time of year and how cool your bathroom is, it should, turn into a nice pasty consistency. Okay, if you like my quick money-saving tips, garden wisdom, rants, raves, politics, and occasional art and magic, please like, share, subscribe. It helps. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other, because I believe how we treat each other on the streets is our ultimate reality. Bye for now.